Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am so happy you were able to come by. Today I'm so excited. I have been slowly bringing my indoor plants that I brought outside. I have been bringing them in batches, and so far the first batch includes all of my Alocasia, and that has been a trial because number one, I didn't want to bring them in this early, but we had a couple of nights that was at about 60 degrees outside, and I don't want my Alocasia to go dormant, and so I had to bring them in. Now the last couple of nights it's been nice and warm, but I still want to err on the side of caution. It does take me a lot of time to bring my plants in. It took me 3 days to bring all of my Alocasia in, which honestly, I didn't realize I had accumulated so many of them. But when they were outside, I have my planter box that I put different cuttings in, and I pretty much brought them in, changed the soil on everything that I brought in. If it came in, the soil got changed, the leaves got a full bubble bath, and anything that I propagated and put outside, they were joined into the mama plant. So the plants have had major glow ups. Even though I took the corms out and let them grow separately, I put them back into the original mama plant so I would not have too many plants to bring inside. And I do have a lot of them, so I'm going to go into this very quickly, okay? I hope you can stay for the entire video. I do appreciate you doing that. I'm going to start off with it's not funny. This is my Cupria. Guys, I don't know what it is. What am I doing to these Cuprias? This is my Cupria. There are 2 corms in here, and I'm happy to have the 2 corms. I have to look on the brighter side. I do recognize what happened this time. My Cupria was growing very, very well, and it was in a nice shady place because I have learned that the Cupria does not like to have direct sunlight, which is why it does great when you have them in the garden centers and they're just under the fluorescent lights. I had it outside in a nice shady area. It was growing. I actually had a leaf about to open up on my Cupria, and then we got 2 days of rain, and it was not in ground, it was in a pot, and so the pot was too soggy and I lost her to root rot. So this time I actually had some corms that I pulled out of it beforehand, and so I have a chance at having them now. These are already sprouted and they're just in sphagnum moss. So yes, this is my Cupria and I love her. Next is a new addition to my plant collection, and this, my friends, was a plant that I have wanted forever, and meaning about 4 months. This is my Alocasia Jacqueline, and I purchased this one sprouted corm, and I had her outside, but I don't think she was getting enough light because she didn't really do very well, and her stem is super duper twisty. But what I am doing now is just keeping her in this domed off area, and she is growing in perlite. I want to grow her SemiHydra, so I'm going to keep her in the perlite, and then as she gets bigger, I will transfer her more than likely to pond, because pond seems to be a substrate that many people have success with when it comes to their Alocasia. So I am going to try again with another Cupria, but I am going to keep it in SemiHydra, because then the roots get to feed themselves the water that they want and reject anything that they don't want. So that's going to be my next step. I am determined to grow a Cupria successfully. I'm determined, absolutely determined. But here is my Alocasia Jacqueline. Isn't she cute? She's just one little corm. Cutie. Next, I'm going to show you another fairly new plant to my collection, and this is my Tiny Dancer. This plant was a wish list plant, just like my Jacqueline. Maybe not as much as my Jacqueline. My Jacqueline was definitely a wow, my heart's beating kind of wish list plant. But this one right here was one that I wanted because the whimsy of this plant is just so cute. I think the first time I saw this one was on Carlos' channel, and he had the Tiny Dancer. You know, he's the Alocasia king, and he has so many of them, and they're all so beautiful. And this one right here was one that he had, and this plant, the whimsy of this plant is just amazing. I love it so much. But the Tiny Dancer tends to be a spider mite magnet, and I'm telling you, when I purchased this plant, I saw it and I just like, I was so excited to find one. And then when I got into the car, my husband was driving and I was just admiring her leaves and looking. And I saw that almost every single leaf had spider mites on it. And I was so disappointed. But what I did was I went home and I just washed the entire thing down. And I did that 4 days in a row. I just washed the entire plant down with my, I didn't use insecticidal soap. What I did was I used Dawn. And Dawn does have chemicals in it, but the chemicals are safe enough for my family to eat food off of. And so I think it's safe enough for this right here. But I do know that it has chemicals in it. But if I can't feed it to my family, which I don't feed them Dawn, but I clean dishes that they eat off of with Dawn. And so, and I do rinse it all off when I'm done. And so far, I haven't seen any recurrences of the spider mites. The damage from the spider mites is still there, so I tend to keep checking just to be sure that it's past damage, but I see no webbing, I see no bugs, but I do have to check this one on a regular basis. And I love her. I absolutely love this plant. The whimsy of this plant is just amazing. Next, I have my Alocasia Cucalata. And originally, when I purchased this plant, I actually thought this was a tiny dancer. And you can see the similarities with them, that this looks like it could be like a really mature tiny dancer. But this is the Alocasia Cucalata. And this plant, when I purchased it, I kept watching it in Home Depot. And watching it, and I looked and I said, every time the plant rep comes in, she simply cleans the plant. But I said, that plant has mealybugs because I would see the little deposits of the remnants that they leave. And so I just realized she has so much action happening in her soil. Look at this. But so when I got her, she had maybe 3 more leaves than she does now out without this new one coming in. But when I got her, I treated her for mealybugs, and she did still have them, even though the rep kept treating it. I brought her here, and this is the first time that she's really spending time in my home. The entire time that I've had her, she's been outside, and she has lots of damage from me cleaning her of the mealybugs, because I had to, mealybugs they're so gross, so I had to take every measure to make sure that they were not infesting anything else in my house. And so what I did, as soon as it got warm enough, this plant went outside, but outside of that, it was all wrapped up in a bag. And every single morning I would come and I would just wipe it down with a little bit of diluted alcohol, and then I would rinse the leaves off every single morning for about a week, just to be sure there was nothing left on it. And so far, I haven't seen a recurrence of them. I would check it outside, although once you put them outside, they have to defend themselves against the real predators. So yeah. Anyway, she has lots of damage, but I love her anyway. I do. And by the way, I did switch all of my Alocasia over to clay pots because they don't like to have soggy feet, but they need to be bathed often in order to prevent them from having spider mites or any other kind of pest. So to ensure that they do not have any problems with being watered too much or drowning in their soil, I added extremely chunky soil, and I have them in clay pots. This does mean that I will have to water them more often, but I'm okay with that. These plants don't like to be soggy in the roots, but they do need lots and lots of baths. And so we have to prepare them for that for the winter. Next, I have a little bit of a sad little baby. This is my Alocasia Bambino, and she had spider mites before I put her outside, and I didn't cut the leaves off, which I probably should have, because once the plant is in distress, it can tend to call more pests to it. So I will more than likely cut these leaves off that show distress, because I don't want to just make this a spider mite magnet simply because it's always in distress. But I just wanted to show her to you. She was one that took a little bit of a beating, but she was in here when she got the spider mites. I treated her very well, took her out of her soil, gave her a nice bubble bath. I have not seen any more of the spider mites on her while she was sitting outside. You know, spider mites don't really have as much freedom when they're out there, and so it's a lot easier for them the problem to be fixed. But if the plant is not healthy and it's showing signs of distress, that can be a draw for the spider mites. But so far she's okay. She has lots and lots of action happening over here on her stems, so I know that she's happy. She is the only one that is not in a pot that is ceramic. I mean, the clay pot. She is in the clear pot, and I think I will end up moving her over, but I'm just going to wait until I have her all set, and there's absolutely no question of a doubt that there's anything going on with her. But until then, she'll stay like this. Next, I have my Ladabachiana, and yes, this is my plant that used to be huge, huge, huge. This was my mature plant, and this plant, when I put it outside in its pot, ended up with root rot. And I didn't understand why it was losing so many leaves. And then what I did was I took it out of the soil. Well, I went to take it out of the soil, and the entire thing just popped out. I was devastated because this is one of my oldest Alocasias, and I was devastated to see that it had suffered root rot. And so what I did was I just cleaned off any of the trunk that was starting to rot away because there was substantial damage done to the roots. I chopped those pieces off and I planted it in ground. And for a little while, there was just this right here on the plant, but then it popped out this one and it has another one on the way. And so I'm really looking forward to this one sizing up again. But more than anything, I'm just so happy that it's still here. And then this was my baby Ladabachiana that I had, the secondary plant that I had. And she is doing very, very well, and she's strong. I put them into one pot so I don't have to worry about having multiple pots of this because I do have quite a number of Alocasia now. But I'm really, really excited about her, and I'm so happy I didn't lose this one. I'm disappointed that it's not the big, beautiful plant that it was before, but I'm happy that I still have it. Next, I will show you my Alocasia Stingray, and this is the plant that I bought at the same time as my Ladabachiana from the Big Y supermarket, and she is doing extremely well. The last time I showed you this plant, there were, I believe, about 12 plants all together in one pot. And I decided to take a lot of the babies out of the pot, all of the offshoots of this plant, and I shared some of them. Some of them are still growing outside, and these are the two main stalks that were inside the pot. So this is only 2 of the plants that was in there. The other plants, I've taken them all out. One of them I have in SemiHydra. I will be keeping that one. I'm going to keep a secondary plant of all of my SemiHydra Alocasia because I'm just doing a little experiment with them. But this plant, as you can see, was happy outside. It was absolutely happy. The newest leaf coming in on this plant is, oh, I just realized that there is another plant. There are 3 plants in here. But this is the newest leaf. It hasn't opened up yet, but wow, is it big. And then we have all of these over here. This great big one and this great big one. They are so big, so beautiful, and I am really excited about her. She is in her clay pot so that she can get regularly showered and kept clean of any kind of pest on her. I watched the leafydiva, her video on Alocasia, and she is amazing with her Alocasia, absolutely amazing. And I'll tell you that she uses a feather duster to clean her leaves, and I have been doing that with my plants since I saw her video, and I really like it. It is very therapeutic. She said that in the video, and she's 100% right. It's therapeutic. I will still shower my plants, but I really like the idea of just brushing away anything that would be there. Here I have my Alocasia dragon scale. This baby right here has been growing like wildfire. This was 2 plants. When I brought it outside, I made it 1 plant, and one of them was a rescue plant that it really just produced a flower when it was outside right there. This is finally starting to close up, but this plant, oh, she's gorgeous. They were actually both rescue plants. Now that I think about it, they were both rescue plants. Now this plant over here has all new leaves on it. This one over here still has some of the old leaves, and they're damaged, but they're not in distress, and so I'm not going to do anything with those leaves. I love them all. The plant has been holding on to them all, so I'm going to leave them. And the leaves that grew in my care are extremely green, whereas the leaves that did not grow in my care are very, very dark, and I actually like that contrast. I'm not really sure why they are darker when they've been grown somewhere else, because this is a fairly old leaf, but it still doesn't get that super dark appearance. If you know why that happens, please let me know, because I would love to know how to make them a little bit darker. I like them light as well, but I just like the contrast and I would like to keep that on the plant. Okay, on to the next baby. This is my Alocasia Black Velvet. I purchased this plant from Target for $3.99. No, $3.49. And she was a rescue plant. She was one of the plants that she looked sad and droopy and she had all kinds of dead leaves. And I did not get even one new leaf off of her outside. All she did was flower. And do you want to know something? She was outside. She was happy. I didn't cut her flowers off. These right here were corms that were in the soil that I just grew out and I just put back in here. But as far as the mama plant, she does have a new growth point right there. But all she did when she was outside was flower, and her flowers were very happy. And so I let her be happy with her flowers. Her leaves look great. And I'm happy with her. Very, very happy. Next, I have another rescue. This is my Alocasia Silver Dragon. And if you remember this plant went down to absolutely nothing. And I was just nursing an empty pot. And now look at her. Look how gorgeous she is. I am so happy about her. She has a new leaf coming in right there, and she's absolutely gorgeous. She is in soil, chunky soil. I just top dressed her with my perlite and leca mixture, and I think she looked really cute like that. I will probably put that on top of all the rest of my plants as well, because I just really like the way the terracotta looks with this mixture on top. But this silver dragon is absolutely gorgeous. Now, I just watched a video where the woman says that they don't necessarily like to be in very bright light. And so I have to try to see how this one does in the lighting that I have it in, because it's in a south facing window. And you see this spot right here on her. All of my plants in my garden, they are all sitting under a pine tree. And so the sap from the pines getting onto all of my plants. And that has been a trial because it doesn't come off very easily. Originally, I thought it was something from birds, but it's not. It's actually sap from the pine cones. But they're doing just fine with it. Oh, I love her. Next, I have another plant I haven't had the pleasure of sharing with you. This is my Alocasia Dragon's Tooth, and she's gorgeous. Her leaves are so incredibly dark and beautiful. She has a leaf in the middle that just opened up today. Look how beautiful she is right there. She's so pretty. Now, this leaf right here looks like it's going to, it's on its way out. But I am just getting used to this plant right here. I'm getting used to her watering cycle. She's a very thin leaf Alocasia. So I know that between the leaves that are thick and thin, they can be very, very different. But this one I'm really in love with. She was never outside. When I purchased her, I had her inside from the very beginning because her leaves were so thin and I didn't know much about her. I haven't seen many videos sharing any information about her, and so I just kept her inside to keep her protected, and she's doing very well. But she does, like I said, have a leaf that's on its way out. But as far as it being acclimated to my home, it has been about 2.5 to 3 weeks, because she just came out of her nursery pot. She was all wrapped up so that she would not, you know, bring me any new family. And so, yes, this plant right here is a new one for me, and I love her. I love the black of the leaves. They're so beautiful. Okay, so right now I'm going to add one more to my dragon collection, and this is my Dragon's Breath Alocasia. Oh, I love this plant. This plant makes my heart beat. Look how gorgeous she is. Now, when she was outside, she opened up these 2 leaves. But when she was inside, she opened up both of these leaves. This one was double the size of the original leaf. And this is clearly an upsize from this. It is amazing that the leaves went down in size when I put them outside. But when she was outside, she wasn't receiving as much sun out there. She was in the shade. But when she's inside, she sits in a south-facing window unbarred by anything. So yes, that's what I've learned. I learned that this plant actually prefers to be inside in full sun, that it can take in here, because even though it is full sun inside, it's not the same as full sun outside. But in the time that I brought it in, this leaf actually got a little bit longer. Look at that. Look at that. She's gorgeous. I really do love her, and I look forward to all of the leaves that she'll provide for me to enjoy and look at. Okay, for the life of me, I cannot remember the name of this plant, but I will put it across the screen. She is a beautiful, beautiful alocasia, and she lost her original leaves. These are both leaves that grew here with me. I actually feel that she started to dwindle away because she was being overwatered by the rain. And so actually it's not just by the rain, because if I didn't watch the forecast, I would water my plants, and I think that when we would get nighttime rain, she was just getting too much. And so I ended up taking her out of her pot and planting her in my raised bed, and then she just took off. And so I was really happy about that. And so now the reassurance I have is that she's in a clay pot, so she will not be overwatered. And she is so beautiful. This leaf only opened up yesterday. Just yesterday it opened up, and I am so excited about her. Isn't she pretty? She's such a different kind of a tree. She'll look, not a tree, plant. She'll look more like a palm tree when she gets some more leaves, and I love that. Next I have a little floppy Alocasia Regal Shield. This was one of the corms that I had in my window when I did my plant tour, and this is where she is now. So she actually needs to be watered. She definitely needs to be watered, but this plant grows so quickly. If you ever have the pleasure of getting a Regal Shield, this one is one that you can have as a statement piece because they grow so very quickly. Inside and outside, they grow very, very quickly. This one was just a little tiny baby, just a little thing in my windowsill, and now this is how big she is. And there's actually another one. I had a harvest yesterday, and I tried to record this video yesterday and show you my harvest. My little harvest basket was so cute. Maybe I'll show you the other one so that you can see it. Here was the harvest basket, one of the plants that was in my harvest basket. This was another one that was just a little tiny bloom that I had in my window. And here they are now. These plants get so big, I'm definitely going to have to part with these at some point. But right now, I'm just so incredibly happy with them. I have been parting with them. Whenever I get a chance to, I always share a Regal Shield corm because my mother plant produces so many corms all the time. And so I like to share them with people. Okay, so now I have my mama plant, my Cucalata. This is where I have her. I still have quite a few of these outside, and I have shared them. When I shared this plant with you, when I hauled it, I had a whole bunch of plants in one pot, and I ended up kind of separating them all out just to try different things. And one of the things I'm trying is SemiHydra. Here is one of the babies that I have in SemiHydra. She's in perlite and leca. And I shared her with you in my hydroponics video, my semi-hydroponics video, and Carlos told me that I should probably give her a chopstick to lean on, and it really did help. Look how she looks so cute now. I love that. Now this leaf right here I thought would have been gone by now, but after I put her on the chopstick, it really did slow down the rapid rate of decline, so I'm happy about it. Look how pretty she is. I think I'll give this one over here a little pull as well. But she's so cute. I love her. And she is another one, just like the Regal Shield, that is constantly putting out babies. Okay, here is another one of the plants that I haven't had the opportunity to share with you. This is my Quilted Dreams Alocasia. And look at the beauty. She's gorgeous. Look how pretty she is. Now, she's not as shiny as the mirror face, I don't think, but she is still beautiful. And she, again, was producing one flower after another outside, and I just let her keep her flowers. And she's constantly pushing up corms from her soil. There, can you see it anywhere in there? Nope, I don't think you'll be able to see it. But she has just corms sticking out of her soil, and in the middle, I'm not sure if this is another flower. It does look like another flower right in there, but even if it is, it's okay. I'm happy with her. She's so beautiful. I love the darkness of the center veining on her. She's gorgeous. Next, I have my Lowrider Alocasia. She's gorgeous. I love her so much. I think this plant is just so gorgeous, and I look forward to her leaves getting even more broad. She does have some guttation that apparently happened on her leaves. I must have overwatered her, but she's doing okay. She does have this leaf right here actually just opened up, and I see another baby right in her stem. So she's obviously happy. I'll just make sure I'm very careful with the watering. And again, she was outside, so she got overwatered. Here is my HiLo Beauty. This is her latest leaf. She is gorgeous. I love this plant so much. These are all adjusting to being inside the house. So far, she's doing really, really well. She's in a teeny tiny little pot because this pot actually matches her root system. So she's growing nice and big, but I'm just letting her stay just the way she is in a tight pot. She does have a new baby coming in, and so I have to make sure I keep up with her watering so that the baby doesn't dry out or get damaged. But she's gorgeous. Look how pretty she is. Now, my last 3 plants that I will show you. I actually have 4 more Alocasia, but one of them is my giant mama plant, my Regal Shield, and she's still outside. I cannot bring her in here because I know I saw a giant spider on her before. She can't come in here until she gets a thorough rundown. So I showed you the babies from her, but the mama is still outside. And maybe I'll take a picture and I'll show it to you, but she can't come in here right now. So I'm going to share with you the others that I have. On the home stretch, we have this beautiful Sarian Alocasia. She's beautiful. Oh, I love this Sarian so much. She's absolutely beautiful, guys. My family and I went to a garden center and we walked the gardens, and it was so beautiful. I was so overwhelmed by the beauty in that place. I didn't record anything, but my husband did record, and I relive that day over and over again because of that video, and I'm so happy he took it because there was just so much beauty there. Ecuagenera was at this garden center, and that's what drew me to this place. I didn't buy anything from Ecuagenera, but I was so happy to be at the garden center. I was able to get this incredibly beautiful plant, and this was one of the smaller ones that they had. The others were huge. They were absolutely huge, almost like trees. My beautiful Sabrina in her glow up. This is her latest leaf. And this leaf is about to push out another leaf because I can see that the stem is splitting. She's beautiful. I'm not sure if this right here is a burn or if it's on its way out. It doesn't feel as if it's on its way out. It may be a burn. So she is definitely going to be living in a south-facing window inside my home, even though she was in major shade when she was outside. But in order for her to get enough light, according to the Leaf Joy website, she needs to have about 4,000 lumies of light. And so my south-facing window is what's going to give her the light that she needs. And so that's where she will be living. We made it, guys. We are down to the very last plant. And that is my long Loba. Gosh. Guys, look how pretty she is. Look at how much she has grown. Look at that leaf. Look at this beautiful leaf. I can't believe this leaf is so incredibly big. She has been outside growing, and I am not mad about it. Her lobes are getting so big and defined, and these plants can get they get so big. They get so big. I am really excited about her. Again, she will be living in a south-facing window down here. She will get all the light and warmth that she can possibly want in this south-facing window. Sorry. And so I'm excited about this. I'm excited about seeing her grow and grow and grow and grow. Oh, these Alocasia make me so happy. I love them. I will be sacrificing some of my plants that were inside my home. There are some that I just feel, okay, I can part with some of them. Then there are others that I just found new homes for. I still love them. I don't want to part with them, but I have to choose the ones that I can keep. And so I already gave my mother-in-law one of my giant peace lilies and my Rojo Congo. I had my Rojo outside and she got so big. I mean, she got so big. I will have to, and then there were 2 plants in the pot. I guess I could have separated them, but I know that she loves that plant, and so I just decided to give it to her. I know she'll take excellent care of it, so I just gave it over to her, and so it will be in a nice home, living happily, getting everything that it needs, and so she'll be fine. I have quite a few other plants that I will be parting with, and it won't be any of my pothos. I love my pothos. They're going to stay here. They're hanging, not doing anything to anyone. And I will not be parting with my Syngonium or my Scindapsus. I love all of those plants. I feel as if I'm just a common plant person. The other things that I will not get rid of are my spider plants. I'll join them together, but I'm going to keep my spider plants, and I'll just stop taking the babies off because I got a little addicted to putting the babies into into soil and just seeing them grow. It's just such a wonderful plant. As I run out of space, I will just make room for another plant, and I have just been content with what I have. I have not purchased any new house plants with the exception of one. This is the only new house plant that I have purchased, and can anyone guess why I had to purchase this? I'm not on a no-buy. I just don't want to have to choose between a new plant and something that I have outside that I can't part with. So, because I know I'm keeping all of my Dieffenbachia too, and they're all really, really big now. I can't wait to bring them in and show them all to you to see, so you can see their glow up. But yes, this is the only new plant that I've purchased that has been for the inside, and I've passed up quite a number of Aglaonema, and I love this genus of plant, but this plant, there was just no way I could leave it. There were maybe 5 or 6 of them when I saw this one, and I pulled them all out, turned them all about, and this is the one that I decided to come home with, and she definitely needs to be repotted. I have to take her out of her baskets. She's still being separated from my collection, but so far she's okay, and she's gorgeous. She's absolutely gorgeous. That was a lot. A lot of talking, a lot of plants. I love them all. They are so beautiful. These plants have definitely been bringing me joy. I do have this Jacqueline that I am waiting to just grow and grow and grow. I know they can be a little bit more sensitive than the other varieties. They have little hairs on the top of them, which makes them a little bit more sensitive, and they like to have a little bit more moisture, which is usually what happens with plants that have little hairs on them. But I'm looking forward to growing with her. Yes, there is still room in my collection for a Cupria. I have my corms, and I am looking to have that plant in my collection. I'm not going to give up on her just yet because I just really, really want that plant. So there you have it, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you for staying with me for this entire video. It means so much to me that you stayed here, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know about the plants that you have in your collection from this genus, your Alocasia plants, if there's any that you have as a favorite, or if there's something that's just on your wish list that you haven't been able to come across yet. I'd really appreciate you sharing that with me. Again, thank you for spending this time with me because I know you have so much to do in the course of your day. So I do appreciate you, and I look forward to talking to you in my next video. Bye, guys.